So let's get to know one of our coaches and trainers here at My Virtual Sales and Ugly Roof, Clay Weingart. So Clay, I have a few questions for you.
Fire
You
away.
ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
What's your favorite sport?
My favorite sport is disc golf. Go ahead and make fun of me.
I'll follow up with what's your favorite or best bourbon?
My favorite bourbon is E.H. Taylor Foolproof.
E.H. Taylor Foolproof. Okay, I'll make note of that. I'll have to try it. What gets you fired up about working in this business?
When you see a rep grow and improve and they make more money and they have more time, there's really nothing better than that. So that's what gets me fired up to work in this business.
Rewarding. Very good. A little bit maybe about your work history. 5 years in sales. What did you do before that taught you the most that you bring to this career?
Yeah, so I owned a landscaping business. I also did a lot of volunteer work. And I'd say owning my own business taught me a lot about the challenges that people face. And being a volunteer taught me to do things just because I want to be helpful, not for money. And I'd say that, if you can learn to do things just for you, and then you can do something you enjoy like sales training for money. I mean, obviously, it helps me have the right attitude, I guess is what I'll say.
Good. So running the landscaping business, what did that running every part of it, I guess. What did that teach you about selling?
Yeah, I mean, landscaping, and then like we started Ugly Roof, we started MVS. So I've been part of, a few startups at this point. And it's taught me to have empathy for everybody, because I've picked up the phone, I've signed the contract, I've been in production. So just being empathetic for production, understanding how the moves we make to a sales team affects every part of the company. And really, you want to make sure that everyone's happy, not just the salespeople.
That's good learning. Um, I guess you came into sales, the sales side of things a little bit later. What would you say that you see that maybe long timers miss?
I would say I came in really with no sales skills, but I also, with that, came in with no bad habits. And what a lot of the long timers will miss is kind of the opposite. Lots of bad habits, maybe a little bit of stubbornness. Not always. I don't want to make that generalization, but I'd say, in general, we recommend you hire someone who's never been in sales before because they don't come with the baggage.
No bad habits. Okay. Now, MHI Roofing was your first real sales job. What's the lesson that stuck?
Yeah, it was. I remember when I got in, like, kind of asked to work for the company, I was very apprehensive because I was betting on myself. And, I didn't have a salary. I had to go out and perform. So I remember asking the guys, like, what do I need to do to be successful at this? And I'd heard over and over again from multiple people, if you follow the process, you'll be successful. And sure enough, I followed the process and I've been successful. So super thankful to the MHI team for getting me my start.
Stick to the process. Stick to the process. Yeah. Then what would you say then the hardest part about this job is?
The hardest part about being a sales trainer, and even with the Ugly Roof business, is dealing with people who are apathetic, people who don't want to work hard. They don't want to try to overcome difficulties. They're more like the complainer, the excuse maker. It's those types of people that make this job hard. I would say the job with the right people is actually pretty easy.
Okay. Um, let's talk about your experience with sales reps. What do you think every sales rep thinks that they are, but isn't?
I think every salesperson thinks they're the best salesperson ever. But maybe what a lot of salespeople aren't is actually salespeople. When you look at kind of the fundamentals of being a salesperson, I'd say a lot of people in our industry maybe more on the order taker estimator side of things versus actually being a true salesperson.
Yeah, that's a good point. So when you coach someone, what are you actually fixing?
The most common things that I fix probably are, confidence issues, whether that's a lack of confidence in, the rep or the owner doesn't have confidence in themselves, or whether they have a lack of confidence in the process. Typically, if you can get somebody to be confident in themselves and in the process, if I can coach them to do that, then they'll be successful.
Okay. Why would you say most sales systems fail to stick?
A lot of sales systems are choppy, so you have a lot of different ideas kind of all coming together, and they're also quite wordy. I've seen some 12-page closing tracks before, and it's kind of that complexity with lack of fundamentals and principles that I feel like ultimately either the reps never learn it because it's too daunting, or they get bored of it because it's too robotic.
Too difficult to learn and don't help them stick to it. What's the difference between a rep who improves and one who doesn't? What would you say the difference is?
Yeah, I would say humility is one of the big things. If a rep is humble and they're willing to admit their mistakes, then they'll typically do very well. If they lack humility, they'll typically stay the same. And I would say that in addition to humility, you need to have work ethic. So if you're humble and hardworking, then you're going to do really well in sales.
Humble and hardworking. What can you teach in a day that changes everything?
That's great. If I had to just give three suggestions to a roofing company, I would say shoot videos on inspections rather than take pictures. Get in the attic, have an inspection checklist, and ask for the sale. Once you give them the price, ask the customer how they'd like to pay. Those are four things that I feel are game changing for a lot of people.
For sure. Very simple. Okay, I got to bring it back to the beginning. Tie this together. Is it true that your dog is named after a bourbon?
That is true. I have a 70-pound rescue dog, and his name is Weller. You can't name your kids after bourbon, but you can name a dog after bourbon, which is fun.
And what would you think what one thing that people get wrong about you?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people think I'm more mysterious than I really am. I'd say that I'm pretty much, what you see is what you get with me, and that's about it. There's not a ton of mystique there.
No mystery to Clay? Okay.
No mystery.
Finish this sentence. The ugly truth is.
Probably most people won't get to the end of this video, but if you did, thanks for watching.
Well, this is Clay, and that was another ugly interview.